Thank you for clicking on this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to continued stories. Also remember to click the notification bell so you can be notified whenever a new content is uploaded. In the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean, off the coast of Somalia, a phenomenon emerged in the late 20th century that would capture the world's attention: piracy. This modern-day scourge, often romanticized in popular culture, is rooted in a complex web of historical, social, and economic factors that have plagued Somalia for decades. To understand the rise of Somali piracy, one must first delve into the country's tumultuous history, beginning with the collapse of its central government in 1991. The fall of the Somali government ushered in an era of chaos and lawlessness. Once a nation with a rich cultural heritage and a strategic geographic location, Somalia became a battleground for warlords, clans, and foreign interests. The absence of a functioning government led to rampant poverty, unemployment, and a lack of basic services. Fishermen, who once relied on the bountiful waters off the Somali coast, found their livelihoods threatened by illegal fishing practices perpetrated by foreign trawlers. These vessels, often exploiting the unpoliced waters, decimated fish stocks and left local fishermen struggling to survive. As the situation deteriorated, some fishermen began to take matters into their own hands. They transformed from humble fishers into self-styled guardians of their waters, adopting piracy as a means of reclaiming their livelihoods. This shift was not instantaneous. It evolved over time as fishermen, frustrated by the encroachment of foreign fleets, began to hijack ships for ransom. The first recorded incidents of piracy in Somalia occurred in the late 1990s, but it was in the early 2000s that the phenomenon truly escalated. The recruitment process for pirates is as diverse as the individuals involved. Young men, often in their late teens or early 20s, are particularly susceptible to the allure of piracy. Many come from impoverished backgrounds, with few prospects for legitimate employment. The promise of wealth, adventure, and a sense of purpose can be enticing. Recruitment often occurs in coastal towns where the desperation for income is palpable. Aspiring pirates may be approached by seasoned members of pirate crews, who offer them a chance to join in exchange for a share of the spoils. The recruitment process is not merely a matter of persuasion. It is also steeped in social dynamics. In some cases, young men are drawn into piracy through familial ties, as brothers, cousins, or friends become involved. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose can be powerful motivators. However, the allure of piracy is often coupled with coercion. Young recruits may be pressured to join, either through peer influence or the threat of violence from more established pirate factions. Funding piracy is a multifaceted issue, involving a range of actors both within Somalia and beyond. While some pirates operate independently, many are part of larger networks that include financiers, arms dealers, and corrupt officials. The initial funding for piracy often comes from wealthy individuals or groups who see the potential for profit in the lucrative ransom business. These financiers provide the necessary capital for operations, including the purchase of weapons, boats, and equipment. In return, they receive a percentage of the ransom once a ship is hijacked. International criminal organizations have also been known to invest in piracy, viewing it as a means of diversifying their portfolios. The global demand for maritime trade means that successful hijackings can yield millions in ransom, making piracy an attractive venture for those willing to take the risk. As a result, the line between piracy and organized crime has blurred, with pirates often engaging in other illicit activities, such as drug trafficking and smuggling. The lengths that Somali pirates will go to capture a ship and demand ransom are staggering. Hijacking operations are often meticulously planned, involving extensive reconnaissance and coordination. Pirates typically use small, fast boats known as skiffs to approach their targets. Once a ship is identified, pirates will launch their skiffs, armed with automatic weapons and rocket-propelled grenades, to board the vessel. The process can be violent, and hostages are often taken to ensure compliance from shipping companies and governments. Once a ship is in their possession, pirates establish a base of operations, often taking the crew hostage in cramped conditions. Negotiations for ransom can take weeks or even months, with pirates employing various tactics to exert pressure on the ship owners. They may make threats against the crew, display weapons, or even release videos to the media to raise awareness and urgency. The ransom amounts can vary widely, with some ships yielding millions of dollars, while others may be released for smaller sums. Corruption plays a significant role in the piracy trade, as many Somali officials are complicit in the operations. The lack of a stable government has created a vacuum in which corrupt practices thrive. Local authorities, including police and military personnel, may turn a blind eye to piracy, or even provide protection to pirate crews in exchange for a share of the profits. This relationship between pirates and officials complicates efforts to combat piracy, as it blurs the lines between legitimate authority and criminal enterprise. Some officials may directly benefit from the pirate trade, receiving kickbacks or bribes in exchange for allowing piracy to continue unchallenged. In some cases, pirates have been known to pay off local officials to secure their freedom or to avoid prosecution. This systemic corruption undermines any attempts to establish a rule of law and contributes to the perpetuation of piracy as a viable economic activity. As the piracy crisis escalated, the international community began to take notice. Naval forces from various nations, including the United States, European Union, and NATO, launched anti-piracy operations in the region. These efforts included deploying naval vessels to patrol the waters off the Somali coast, conducting surveillance, and engaging in direct confrontations with pirate ships. While these operations have had some success in reducing the number of hijackings, they have not eradicated the problem entirely. The presence of international naval forces has led to a shift in piracy tactics. Pirates have adapted by using more sophisticated methods, including the use of motherships to extend their range and evade detection. Additionally, the increasing costs associated with piracy, such as the need for better equipment and the risk of military engagement, have forced some pirates to seek alternative means of income. The impact of piracy extends beyond the immediate region, affecting global shipping routes and trade. The threat of piracy has led to increased shipping costs, as companies must invest in security measures, such as armed escorts and anti-piracy technology. These additional costs are often passed on to consumers, ultimately affecting the prices of goods worldwide. In recent years, there have been some initiatives aimed at addressing the piracy crisis through a more holistic approach. International organizations, NGOs, and local communities have begun to collaborate on programs that focus on providing education, vocational training, and economic development. By offering young people viable alternatives to piracy, these initiatives aim to break the cycle of desperation that drives individuals to engage in criminal activities. Moreover, the humanitarian crisis in Somalia cannot be overlooked. As piracy continues to thrive, the root causes of the issue remain unaddressed. The lack of economic opportunities, education, and infrastructure perpetuates a cycle of poverty that fuels recruitment into piracy. Without addressing these underlying issues, efforts to combat piracy are likely to be ineffective in the long term. Efforts to strengthen governance and the rule of law in Somalia are also crucial to combating piracy. Establishing a functioning government that can enforce laws and protect its waters is essential for deterring piracy and restoring stability. International support for capacity-building initiatives, including training for law enforcement and judicial systems, can help lay the groundwork for a more secure and prosperous Somalia. The story of piracy in Somalia is not just one of crime and violence. It is a reflection of the broader challenges facing a nation grappling with the legacies of conflict and instability. Understanding the complex motivations behind piracy requires a nuanced perspective that considers the socio-economic factors at play. While the world may see pirates as villains, it is essential to recognize the desperation that drives young men to take to the seas. As the international community continues to grapple with the issue of piracy, it is crucial to adopt a multifaceted approach that addresses both the symptoms and the root causes. By investing in education, economic development, and good governance, there is hope for a future where piracy is no longer a viable option for the youth of Somalia. The journey towards stability may be long and fraught with challenges, but it is a necessary path to ensure that the waters off the Somali coast are safe once more, not just for shipping vessels, but for the people of Somalia who call them home. Thank you for watching. If you are interested in this content, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell.